We're here. We're finally here. We finally made it. It's the very last season, the very last episode of The Last of Us HBO. Just played. I just watched it. Then I actually watched the making of as well. So that was cool. But here I am. It's episode 9. The season is over. And let's talk about the last episode of The Last of Us. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe before you go any further, because that would be awesome. So, like I figured it was happening, the cold open was of Ellie's mom, played by Mrs. Ashley Johnson, of course, who is the voice of Ellie from the games. So we got to see Troy last episode, and now we get to see Ashley this episode, and she was great. I actually liked her performance better than Troy's, I thought. I don't know. Not that either of them are better actors than the other, but I just liked her performance better than Troy's. Maybe Troy got a bad rep because he had to play a bad guy, but back to Ashley. We open with her, she's pregnant, and this whole cold open was kind of what I thought it would be. Yeah, so she ends up at this Firefly base or home base or whatever, and this picture here is kind of emblematic of the whole series with windows and whatnot, because they like showing windows. And even in the opening, the start screen for the original game, it's an open window with the curtains blowing with dust around. So this is also similar to a shot taken of the radio playing the music that was telling Joel about what's happening, the music that him and Tommy used, with the two windows and then the central focus on the middle. And then even the kind of very metaphorical image of the tree right over her and whatnot. This cold open played out kind of like what I thought. She's escaping a clicker, and the clicker chases her down. Ashley's been acting for like years, so this isn't like her first role. Even before the game, she's done in a ton of stuff, so she was as good as I would have thought. But yes, the clicker comes in and bites her just as she's giving birth, which is what I had hypothesized was how Ellie was to have born immune. The clicker comes in, attacks her. She stabs her a bunch of times with a switchblade that ends up being Ellie's later on. And yeah, that's over. But then, like I kind of figured, she gets bit just basically as she's giving birth to Ellie. She gave birth basically without even realizing. So yeah, it's a little crazy moment during that little battle. She actually somehow managed to not notice she had given birth. And yeah, she gives birth, and then she was bit at the same time. So I guess they kind of invented a way to make her immune, because I don't know. In the game, I can't remember if they ever covered why she was immune. So who knows if this is from the game or not. But a nice little dramatic moment here when she gives birth to the baby, and they used a real baby the whole time. Like every shot the baby looked real. Sometimes you can tell if it's a doll or CG or whatnot. Then we have Marlene, who comes in, shows up at the Firefly place. This is like, I don't know, however many years, 14, 15 years ago, however old Ellie is. I guess in the game she's 14, or in the show she's 14. Marlene shows up, and we all know what's going to happen. So Marlene shows up, and she's like, I've been bit, take the baby, kill me, blah, blah, blah. Marlene's like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, so Marlene takes the baby, and first she's like, I don't want to shoot you, but understandably, Marlene makes sense. Basically putting her out of her misery, it makes sense to Marlene to to shoot her, because why would you let her just turn into a monster? Then we cut back to Ellie. So this was like, even though it's considered to be the cold open before the credits play, to me this felt like a 10-minute kind of cold open in a way. But I guess they just didn't want to play the credits 10 minutes in. But this episode was very somber, because it was like Joel and Ellie were getting down to it. Like they knew they were close to their destination, the hospital, and they figured, and there's kind of this air of maybe they won't see each other after, but they don't know why yet. And Joel's getting really emotional. And of course the iconic giraffe scene that was in the game as well. And I actually thought this was a CG giraffe when I was watching it. And maybe parts of it are, but then I also watched the behind the scenes, and it was actually a real giraffe that they used at the Calgary Zoo with just a lot of blue screen. So almost everything is blue screen in this moment, except for like the wall behind her. But the giraffe is real. It actually looks kind of CG, and I just thought that, hey, it's HBO. They never spare any expense with effects, so I figured it was just a really well done CG giraffe. But it was real, and that's cool. But anyone who plays the game knows this is a big moment from the game, like emotionally, for both characters. And then they go to another moment that was, reflective of them earlier when they first came out into like the open, when it was the first time Ellie had seen like the world outside of the base. And she says, "Can't deny that view," and then he says it again. This was like the most fatherly you've seen Joel this entire series. Even though like they didn't indicate at all that he's still hurt from the last episode, which I don't know how far along this is since that. Maybe a couple days, maybe a week. But he was hurt pretty bad, and it just seemed to like gloss over that pretty quickly. I'm not the biggest fan of when shows do that, but I guess it's necessary. But here they are overlooking a nice green. They were both being very introspective this episode. As again, they were just kind of both acting as if they were never going to see each other after this little, once they finally get to the hospital. And this scene right here where they're right out in the open was making me wonder, like, how is it they're just able to walk around so out in the open? And just as there's a little lull of them having a little comic moment, I could feel something was about to happen. And it happened like almost as soon as I was thinking it. Joel and Ellie get ambushed from behind. Someone throws a smoke bomb at them, but turns out it's actually just the Fireflies who, didn't know who they were. So Joel wakes up and he's in the hospital, and Marlene's there, and she's straight up just telling him, "Yeah, we need to. The only way to make the antidote is to kill Ellie," which she doesn't outright say. Joel figures that out right away. I mean, it'd be interesting to have watched this show as someone who doesn't know what was to happen, because I knew this was coming from based on the game, so this might be a huge moment for people who don't know the game at all, and we're like, "Oh no, they're gonna kill Ellie." But I knew I knew what was gonna happen, so I guess knowing so much does take away a bit from the show, but it's still an excellent show, and I want to do a season review eventually. But first I gotta get past his episode 9 season finale review. So yeah, it's an emotional moment. Joel is understanding what's happening. He's telling her that there's no way that she's going to be able to survive the making of this antidote, and it's dramatic, and Joel goes off the rails. Marlene just tells his thugs, of course she doesn't do it herself, she just tells him, take him to the street, take him out somewhere, and just leave him, and if he tries anything, just shoot him. So, what I thought was going to happen happened. Joel just attacks him, and this is the part that's in the game as well, but it definitely felt way more brutal than in the game, where you don't really even think about the fact that you're killing someone. But in this part of the show, it was really brutal. It was kind of upsetting in a way to watch, just how, when you watch this, you kind of realize that, yeah, he's doing this as a parent, but he's murdering all these people, and he's kind of a bad person when you think about how many people he's killed unnecessarily, just not here in this one moment, but overall in the arc of the show. I mean, again, with the game, you're killing bad guys all the time, and you never think about it. But I think about it a lot more when you watch it in the context of the show. And this part especially, I thought was almost kind of over the top at how brutally he was just killing all these people just to save the one girl. And I mean, I get the parental love thing, but at the same time, I was kind of like, Joel's kind of a monster. The big part of the show is like asking you, challenging you as like a viewer, what would you do for love? And this is what Joel would do. Joel would literally mow down anyone that steps in the way of reclaiming the love of the daughter that he lost. Still, it felt so extreme watching him just mow down all these people with zero remorse. Just, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I'm gonna doom humanity. Think about it, he's kind of a monster. And it's also extremely selfish, He's dooming humanity just to get back this girl. If you look at it, he's kind of a bad guy. I mean, he kind of is the bad guy. He's the antagonist, but you're rooting for him. And there were lots of behind the shoulder shots in this episode, I thought, more than normal, where they were like, making it feel a lot more like the game. Just like earlier when Joel wanted Ellie to knock a ladder down for him, which is the thing you would do in the game all the time. And this here is a lot like the game, where he comes right in to the operating room. Basically, no hesitation. He just takes up the doctor. I mean, at least he didn't kill these people, but like at the point that he was, I was kind of surprised that he didn't, because he was literally mowing down everyone. But these were basically the only two people that weren't armed of some sort. So like, he's like, all right, I guess I'll let them live. He was so brutally insane in this part. I was almost kind of like, damn, that is going kind of too far. Even me, I was just like, that's going a little bit too far to kill all those people. But then he gets her back and puts her on an elevator that's somehow magically still working. But there's like a small moment here on his face where he's just kind of like, you can kind of see him mulling over what he just did. He's like, did I just do the right thing? Maybe I could just go back. But unsurprisingly, Marlene shows up again, because I mean, I knew they would show her one more time. Even though during that whole shooting everybody, he just seemed to do it so easily without even being hit once. Then we see Marlene in the basement just as he's about to try to leave and take off she's trying to convince him, it's not too late, you can still save the world, kind of thing. And Joel's just like, no hesitation. I mean, it was pretty dark. It was pretty dark considering he just, ended all these people's lives just to get Ellie back. It's almost kind of hard at one point to even root for him, just because he's like killing so many people unnecessarily. And then he lies to Ellie about what actually happened. She lies to her about the fact that they couldn't get an antidote from her, but there's like other people like her that are also immune. But Ellie isn't really buying it. You can tell she's not buying it. Some more small moments where Joel's just kind of like happy to have his quote-unquote daughter back, and he's just chatting with her like nothing even happened, like he didn't just kill 10 people or whatever. And Ellie still has that look of he has that kind of look on her of like, yeah, I'm still not sure if I believe you. Then another, moment, one last moment between Joel and Ellie as they're about to get back to Jackson. Jackson's just over that ridge. Like, I'm not really sure why she felt she needed to say what happened with Riley and that she ended up having to kill her because she got bit and she didn't, and she changed. I guess just trying to like say, hey, everyone I get close to dies in a way, as in like, Joel, you could die, and who knows what happens with that. It's another moment with her where she's just kind of like trying to purge herself of old feelings before they start this new chapter. So yeah, though, she asks him one more time about if what he said about the Fireflies was true and not being able to find an antidote, and she's just like, okay, let's go. And then it just kind of ends, which I wasn't expecting an abrupt ending like that. That's it. That's the last episode of the first season. I'm definitely going to be doing a season review of the entire The Last of Us show. I was like, so excited for this show. I've never been more excited for a new show in my life. And it was amazing. I knew it was going to be incredible. And there was a couple parts maybe here and there that I was like, I don't know. But I mean, overall, it was an amazing show. And I know that this show is going to like change video game adaptations, which is what excites me the most. Ever since this has even been announced and been in production, and then since release, more and more adaptation news is being announced like every day. New things, new deals are being signed, new actors are doing this or that. So the space is going to explode. I feel like we're going to look back a few years from now and be like, Dad, it really started when The Last of Us came out. I mean, The Witcher was great, and Arcane, some other shows were great, but after The Last of Us came out, there was like a new bar had been raised in terms of quality for the video game adaptation space, and I'm definitely very excited to see where it's going to go. Follow and like my channel, subscribe to my channel, because I really want to grow this channel. I love making videos about news that I follow personally, because this is all stuff that I would still follow anyways. This is my review of episode 9, the last episode of The Last of Us HBO. First season is down. Season 2 has been announced, but no idea when that could be. Another 2 more years from now, maybe it'll be out. But right now, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen. I'm excited for the future of the video game adaptation genre. Please like and subscribe and share and all this so I can grow my YouTube channel, and comment below on what you think of this episode and what you think of the show in general. Thank you for watching, and look for the light.